Before everything, I just want to say that currently this fight is bugged. When you start the fight, I think because all the monsters are applying their states and poisons and whatnot, multiple clients crash. My first character, it doesn't crash, but I cannot see the movements. It's pretty annoying, especially since I'm trying to do tight. But that's why this recording starts from turn 2, because I had to relog my characters, and I'm also trying to do tight before like my turn was passed automatically. So if that's a problem for you, I think they will fix it in the next week's maintenance. So I would wait until then. Hello everyone. In this video, I'm gonna talk about the other new boss called Corruption, and I'm gonna start by talking about the monsters. Out of these monsters, there isn't any terrible ones, I'd say, except for Demon Grell, which has huge amounts of AoE damage. So it's pretty annoying. I would highly suggest killing it first, especially if you have multiple ones, because they have cowardly AI and they also do quite a lot of damage. And other than that, the one unique thing I realized is they have different amounts of max health. For example, Elgrun has about 8-9,000 maximum health, and also summons another germ with it. None of them are terrible, but it's just, I guess, pretty annoying to deal with two monsters, so you might decide to kill it second. And the other three monsters, the Dolet, Pistolic, and Tentaclover, have low damage, especially if you're far away and you remove their movement points, they won't really do anything. Pistolic has a spell where he will gain maximum health and sacrifice other monsters. So you can actually use this mechanic to make him kill itself, which might be useful if you're doing clean hands on the boss room. But like I said, overall, if you're playing from range and you're removing their movement points and range, they will be pretty harmless. So one important thing is there's a poison mechanic in and outside of the dungeon. This one is called Rotting Skin. It does low poison damage, and you only do 10% damage when you have this poison. If I'm not wrong, the damage reduction is less outside of the dungeon, but in either case, it's pretty easy to remove. You just need to lifesteal or heal. Anything works, like life-stealing spells and weapons, healing, Kevet, Glyph, any of them will work. The only important thing is you need to actually get healing. If you're at max health, those won't work. And you also have the corruption status. I think this is only inside the dungeon, and you get these from enemy monster spells that remove ability points, movement points, or range. This is pretty terrible. At each stack, you will deal less damage, get less healing, and have more erosion. And the worst part is, at 3 stacks, you will be turned into a germ. You can still use your spells, but you will never go back to your normal self, and you will also spawn germs around you, which will deal low damage. It's incredibly annoying, and even beyond the germs, you will have such a high amount of erosion and you will do such less damage. I would say you should consider restarting the fight at the boss room if one of your characters turns into the germ. There are also other diseases, up to 8, which is contracted through various ways from different monster spells, I think. But they have minimal effects, so you don't need to think about all of them. And just know that healing and lifesteal cures all of them, stack by stack though. So just be careful with the purple number above your character's head. And if it's 2 or 3, prioritize healing that character, otherwise they will be turned into a germ soon. Also, one last thing, whenever you heal a character, again only if the health increases, that character will push the enemies around them in one cell area. This might be important if you're using only melee damage idols, for example, and your weapon hits multiple times. You might end up giving them bonus final damage, so be careful with that. So one different thing in the boss room is that every monster has a shield. I don't want to say shield, it's actually kind of like a poison, but the thing is that when you deal direct damage to any of the monsters, including the boss, you will get a huge amount of damage at the end of your turn. I think it's about 1400 per attack. So in this situation, you can only use poisons, otherwise your characters will kill themselves. But the good thing is, to remove this poison forever, you just need to heal an ally or lifesteal, any of those works. Also, summons work next to the enemy. So what you can do is you can go approach an enemy, summon a living shovel, and then heal the shovel, and then the shovel will push the enemies back, and the poison will be cured. I am telling you, you can instantly heal it after you summon it, because whenever you summon something, they take a minimal amount of damage, I think 10 or 20, which is super useful actually, because that means that you can just summon that thing and then heal it instantly. You don't need to deal damage to it, because like I said before, they need to actually get healing for these curing mechanics to work. Also be careful with the boss, because the boss has a 3 cell wide glyph around it, and you take damage in the glyph. The bad thing is, if you're for example using summons to cure the poison, and say you go to the boss and summon an Arachne, that Arachne might actually die as soon as you summon it. So either summon enemies, summons with high amounts of health, or you can maybe put some shields on them, or you can put one of your own characters next to the boss to cure boss's damage reflecting poison. So when you unlock the boss, aka remove the damage reflecting shield from it, it will gain new mechanics. So I highly suggest you do not touch the boss before he is the last one remaining. He only has 2 movement points and a low amount of movement point resistance, so with an Enutroph you can easily keep it at 0 movement points throughout the fight just by using clumsiness, because you shouldn't deal damage to it. But once you remove the shield, he has this spell where he can change places, and he can use this like 5-6 times a turn. He can change places with allies, your summoned enemies, which might be annoying if you're doing tight, but there's nothing you can do about it. I suggest saving summons so that you can summon a thing next to you if you're doing tight, otherwise the tight achievement will fail. Any summon works: Kevat, Panda, Conis, Schaefer's, Arachnes. Also, I haven't tried it, but putting the boss on gravity state might also be useful. I think if you were to put it on gravity state, he won't be able to change places, but I'm not sure because I didn't try it. In this fight, I initially tried a melee composition, because I thought since I need to be next to the enemies to remove the poison, it might be easy to do so. But I have quickly changed my mind, because all of the enemies, hit decently. The boss hits quite a lot from close range. If you're like 3 to 5 cells away from him, he can deal up to 3000 damage. He did to my Eni, who also had an ivory on them. So, but from range, they don't do anything. The boss just puts a small shield on his allies, or does minimal damage to you, so you're fine. But I highly suggest using a ranged comp. Even when you're doing idols, you might choose to put, bonus damage idols and just hide from the enemies and keep removing range and movement points. That might be useful. In this video, I am completing both tight and clean hands. And for the duo, I would also say you should use maybe a Kra and a movement point removal character. Also, poisons will be really nice. For example, I have seen Killmaster, a person in the Echo server, do it with a Agility Strum and a Kra, which makes a lot of sense because you have a lot of poisons, so you don't need to deal with the poison removal mechanic. And also you have movement points removal from your Kra, and I guess you can use the Stram to annoy them and like mess up with their AI and keep them far away.